Will Hammock and Todd Klein back with you here on GPR. Just a reminder to join us online at GwinnettPrepRally.com, where we have the world-famous message board and video highlights. And you can also keep up with GPR on our Facebook fan page, so be sure to give us a like on that page. Well, back to the highlights, and the Dacula Falcons have gotten off to a rough start under new head coach Jared Zito, but all that could be washed away with a win over defending state champion Brookwood in their region opener. Daryl Schur has more.
Dacula looking for their first win on the season, taking on Brookwood. Third quarter, Broncos driving, Zach Moon dropping back and finding BJ Salmon. He makes a nice catch and picks up the first down, but the Dacula defense would step up. Chris Camarada coming right up the gut and bringing down Moon for the sack. And the Broncos forced to go for the field goal, but the 35-yarder is going to go just a little wide. Keeps it 13-6 Dacula. Fourth quarter now, the Falcons offense would drive it again. Rocky Capabianco following his blockers and picking up some nice yardage before getting brought down. Then more from the ground game. Marcus Cox taking it, weaving his way through the defense, and he is headed for the end zone for the touchdown. And Dacula goes on to win 20-6 over Brookwood.
Well, Will, what a win for Coach Zito and that Dacula team, especially that defense played very well. Also, it's starting to wonder, is Brookwood's offense going to come around? But this night really went to Dacula and their defense.
Yeah, great defensive game. Just really shut down the Broncos on offense. I think Dacula, a lot of people wrote them off being 0-2, but that you can't do that. This is going to be a team that's going to be a factor. Probably going to be the number 2 seed in the region, it looks like, if they keep this up. So a great season so far. I mean, a great game for them, and I think they got a good season to look forward to.
More highlights now as Buford welcomed an out-of-state opponent to town this past Friday night as Yulee High School from Florida paid a visit and got a taste of what many teams around the state of Georgia are all too familiar with. Nathan Shutter has more.
Buford with a nationally televised game against Yulee High School from Florida. Pick it up in the first. Sam Clay off the play action, rolls out and finds Nathan Staub, and he is rumbling down the sideline for the big-time gain before finally getting brought down at the 13-yard line. Couple of plays later, Andre Johnson finishes it off. The 7-yard scamper makes it 7-0 Wolves. Still in the first, more from the Buford ground game. CJ Moore gets the pitch, finds the hole, and turns on the Jets. Down the sideline for the 49-yard touchdown. Wolves go on top 14-0. Second quarter now, off the play action fake. Sam Clay going up top to Moore, drops it in, and he strolls into the end zone for the 46-yard touchdown. Buford in control, up 21-0. And they weren't done. A little trickery. Clay with the lateral to the big guy, Vidal Alexander. It fools everyone, and he goes in untouched for the touchdown. Buford up 28-0 at the half. Third quarter now. Clay rolling out and finds Kurt Freitag for the 5-yard touchdown. That would make it 35-0 Buford. Then they go back to the ground game. Blake Adams going right up the gut for the 5-yard touchdown. That makes it 42-0 Wolves. Fourth quarter now, how about some defense? Sean Reynolds is going to step in front of the receiver and pick it off. He is headed the other way for a pick six, and Buford rolls again, 49-7 over Yulee.
Well, Will, a national TV audience got to see what everybody in Georgia knows, which is how good this Buford program is. But I thought this game more than anything showed the difference between a very strong program and a team with maybe a couple high-profile recruits. The thing about Buford is it's just a total team effort, where Yulee had a couple standout recruits, but maybe not the whole team. It's
a very loaded Buford team. I mean, even the Buford backups were taking it to Yulee in this game. That just shows what kind of talent they have up there. Just a tremendous program that they have going at Buford right now. It's scary to think. It's a lot like the 2002 team at Parkview to me. They're so dominant. They kind of do what they want and beat teams how they want, and even mix it in, throwing a touchdown pass to your 335-pound offensive tackle there just to mix it up a little bit. So just a great game for Buford.
Time now for Will's World. We put 60 seconds on the clock. We get in the mind of our very own Will Hammock. It's brought to you by Breda Pest Management.
Yeah, the first thing we're going to talk about is a secret weapon over at Central Gwinnett, George Morris. He's a guy that's really a marquee running back around here. It doesn't get talked about a lot. He plays in a wide open offense, but he's put up some great numbers so far these past couple of years. He's got a lot of Division I offers, and Illinois is looking to be his favorite right now. But he's a guy that's a very excellent football player, fast and powerful. And he beat up on Burtmar this past week. It was a tough loss for Burtmar in that one, but a solid foundation for the future. I like what Coach Shanks is doing over there. He's playing an awful lot of young kids, and I think it's really taking his lumps right now, but if they keep those kids around the next year or two, I think Burtmar is going to be a force to be reckoned with here in these next few years. got a very young offensive line. All of his offensive linemen are 15 and 14-year-olds, so that tells you something about how young they are. Mill Creek, I think, is going to be a 7-5A contender. We talked about what North and Norcross can do. Mill Creek's undefeated right now, playing some great football. Also a very deep team that can do a lot of different things, throwing the ball, running the ball. Also very stout on defense. So I really like this team. They made a great run in the playoffs last year, and I think they can make a run for the region title once region play gets going.
Well, and speaking of region races, well, I want to go back to Central Gwinnett. You talked about George Morris, how well he's playing. That whole team is playing very well over at Central Gwinnett. And with Dacula knocking off Brookwood, it kind of upends a little bit of those region standings. How does Central fit in there? And are they a playoff team, and can they be more than just a playoff team?
I think Central's definitely a playoff team, and I think they can make a push. They can beat a Brookwood or a Dacula and make a push for one of those top couple of seeds. I don't think they're good enough to beat Grayson at this point, but they can certainly beat those other teams and play themselves in a position to maybe get a home playoff game. I like the talent over there, and Coach Wofford does a great job.
Time now to focus on standout performances. So let's move on to this week's Building Blocks, presented by Britt's Home Furnishing. And first up is Joseph Wilbur from Norcross.
Yeah, he's having a great year so far. It's his first year as a starter. I think he's really the difference in this great season so far for Norcross. 6 of 6, 120 yards and 3 scores. He's doing a great job of managing the offense, not making mistakes. He's really what Norcross has been missing the last few years at quarterback. Just a solid leader who's going to make the right decisions, and he's really got him going in the right direction right now. I think he's going to lead him to possibly a region title.
We talked about that Peachtree Ridge offense kind of waking up and becoming a little bit more dominant. Big reason for that is DeAndre Atwater.
Yeah, we know the previous coach liked to run the ball, Bill Ballard, and that's not going to change with Coach Fleetwood. He's still going to want to run the ball when you got a guy like DeAndre Atwater, a big, powerful kid back there. Obviously, he had a great game, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's going to carry a lot of the load here this season, but I think you're going to see a lot more of the pass mixed in, and that's going to help DeAndre too.
Well, it was a losing effort, but we see why the Region 7 defenses are probably going to be on edge this year, having to go up against Anthony Stewart of Duluth.
Yeah, we've talked about him maybe being the best athlete in Region 7, and it was on display. Obviously, he's a guy that is big, strong, and can run the ball, but he can certainly throw it too. 338 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Most importantly, led his team back and very nearly to a victory there in triple overtime.
Well, Will, those were all great efforts. Who else played well last week that we should mention?
Going back to Central Gwinnett, I think E-Man Westmoreland had another good game. He's maybe underrated over there. I know George Morris is starting to get a lot more attention, but their junior quarterback, Westmoreland, can really do a lot of things. He runs that offense well, is starting to learn more about it. He takes advantage of his weapons, throws the ball well, and also runs it very well. He's a lot stronger this year than last year.
Time now to put Will's football knowledge to the test as we look ahead to some key matchups on the gridiron this week. It's brought to you by Tommy Lee Carpets. We call it Beat the Post. We'll give you a chance to do exactly that. And we start off, Will, with Archer at Brookwood. Does Brookwood rebound from that loss to Dacula?
Yeah, Brookwood's struggling a little bit right now, but I think this is a good game to get well on against a young Archer program. The Broncos will win, but maybe not by a landslide.
And then you talked about Burkmar, a young and an improving team, but they're going up against a veteran, outstanding program in Grayson. Does Grayson get it done?
Yeah, Grayson's going to win this one by a pretty large margin. It's a rough matchup for Burkmar with all those young linemen. I think Grayson could name the score in this one.
Duluth at Norcross, big rivalry game.
I think this could be a fun one. Duluth's got a lot of weapons, and if Norcross makes any mistakes, it could be a very close game, but I still think the Blue Devils overall have the strength to win this one.
Well, Shiloh got the big upset last week, Will. Can they make it 2 in a row? Could they knock off the Parkview Panthers?
It's going to be a very good game. They beat Parkview in JV in 9th grade last week, so it's going to be an interesting test. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Shiloh doesn't quite get it done. I still like Parkview, still got the tradition on their side.
Another big rivalry game, North Gwinnett and Collins Hill. Does this one get ugly in favor of North Gwinnett?
I'm afraid it does. I think North Gwinnett's pretty loaded, and Collins Hill's really struggling. And unless they make some big changes here, I like North Gwinnett to win this one fairly handily.
And we conclude with a couple of dome games. First of all, GAC playing Westminster.
Yeah, it's a tough game for GAC. It's not going to be one they can walk right through. I think both these teams want to win this. It's a crossover game in their region, and they've had a good rivalry these past few seasons. I think it's going to be a close game, and I really like the way GAC's playing, so the Spartans pull it out.
And then finally, we talked a lot about Central Gwinnett. They get a chance to show off their team in the Georgia Dome playing South Gwinnett.
Yeah, it's a great game for both teams. Neither school's ever played in the Georgia Dome, so it's really a marquee game for both sides. And I think Central Gwinnett's definitely playing the better football of the two right now, so I'm going to go with the Black Knights.
All right, we're out of time, but please join us next week for more highlights and features on Gwinnett Prep Rally every Tuesday through Friday right here on GCPS TV. You can go to GwinnettPrepRally.com for all the scheduling details. For Will Hammock and all of us here at GPR, I'm Todd Klein. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you under the lights.
Grab some wood there, bub.